name is Jim Meert. I'm the assistant offensive line coach here at Hunterdon Central High School in beautiful Flemington, New Jersey. The purpose of our video is to teach the philosophies, the terms, the techniques, the drills, and the execution that we use in our offense, both in the running game and in the passing game. Joining me today are several members of our 2021 Hunterdon Central football team, offensive linemen. And in this particular part, I would like to introduce senior center Amir Elman-Shawi. Okay, Amir, tell us a little about yourself. You played center here at Hunterdon Central and you're ready to graduate in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Tell us where the future is for you.
I'm planning to attend Lehigh University and I'm planning to study architecture.
Okay, so what are some of the keys to being an offensive lineman since now you're reflecting on your 4-year career here at Central?
You gotta have focus and understand what your role is in the bigger sense of the play so that you can understand why you're doing what you're doing so you can block more effectively.
Okay, so Amir's going to assist us in this opening segment of our tape, and we'll be joined throughout the rest of the segments by various other members of our offensive line. Okay, as a starting point, and actually before we get into the techniques and the execution of the blocks, we need to establish certain terms, understanding of certain terms that we'll be using throughout the tape and that we use with our players. The first is the concept of leverage. We define leverage as a physical and a mechanical advantage that is created by the offensive lineman versus a defensive player. So to explain leverage, we have 3 principles. First, we have vertical or up-down leverage. So if I can use Amir and say, all right, if we're going to get vertical leverage on our opponent, we've got to start with our knees being bent and our pads being lowered. So when we talk about vertical up-down leverage, we're saying for our offensive lineman to have his shoulder pads, the top of his shoulder pads, below the bottom of the opponent's shoulder pads, and the top of his helmet to be below the chin of his opponent. So if we can ask Amir to turn to his left, he'll be the offensive lineman. All right, he'll take his knee bend, and he is going to establish a vertical leverage position relative to me playing defense. So you can see that the top of his shoulders would be below the base of my shoulder pads, and the top of his head is clearly underneath my chin. We refer to this as gaining vertical leverage on the opponent. All right, so we're talking about vertical leverage. And as we just showed, Amir's shoulder pads are at the bottom of my shoulder pads, me being the defender, and the top of his head being below my chin. Okay, so we're gonna look at it from different views, from a side view, which we just had, okay, from a back view, and then from the opposite side. So we can see the various positions emphasizing the vertical leverage, the up-down leverage, the offensive lineman versus a defensive lineman or a linebacker. Okay, the second type of leverage that we're going to talk about is horizontal leverage. Leverage east or west or right or left relative to the defender in the direction that the play is going. So if Amir were to be blocking me and the play was being run to his right, he would take a step to place himself in an advantageous position in the direction of the play relative to the defender. So he has what we call outside leverage. The play is being run in this direction, and he's in a position to cut me off in my attempt to go that way. Yes, I could beat him this side, but that's away from the play, and that's to his advantage. Let's show it now from the opposite side. If Amir will bend down, nose to nose now. Okay? So right now, he has no horizontal leverage. He has vertical leverage, but if he steps to his left, now his head and his chest are in the direction the play is going, cutting me off from getting to the play side. Okay, so again, vertical leverage is up, down, horizontal, right or left, depending on where the ball is being run. Okay, another point that we talk about in terms of our terminology. It's critical to understand what we mean by the rudder. We'll talk often to our linemen about the use or the position of the rudder. The rudder is that area from their eyebrows to their nose. And we talk about a rudder being a directional aid, something that guides a ship or an airplane. We want our rudder and our eyes to be directed to specific points in making a block. So we talk about the rudder, we're talking about the eyebrows and the nose, almost a triangle area. The next point we mentioned, we do talk about a triangle, a part of the body from the bridge of the nose, or the eyebrows, actually, all the way down to a point as he forms his elbows together. His elbows are against his rib cage, his thumbs are up. So we take the area from his hands to the bridge of his nose. That area we refer to his triangle. So he's got a rudder and he's got a triangle. Those are key points in our teaching blocking here at Hunterdon Central. Okay, now we want to get into actually the stance, the first part of making a successful block. So what we ask our players to do is they're going to learn both a right-handed and a left-handed stance. So let's assume that Amir is a right guard, right tackle, or a tight end on the right side of the center. So if I were the center and Amir is the right guard, the man to my immediate right, he is going to be in a right-handed stance. By that we mean his left foot is going to be ahead of his right foot. His right foot is going to be placed back so that the toes of his right foot, slide it back a little bit, are even with the heel of his left. We refer to that as being a stagger. His feet are staggered. His inside foot up, outside foot slightly back. All right, so as Amir comes to the line of scrimmage, he's a right side lineman, so he's going to drop his right foot back slightly. Okay, he's then going to bend his knees and place his fingertips at the top of the knee. We emphasize that the chest be over the knees and the knees be over the toes with a flat back and the face up. So if we can view it from the back, you're going to see that Amir's elbows, we want him to bring them against his rib cage. You can see that his right foot is back. We'd rather that weight be more on his heel of his right foot. And that's a pretty good preset or 2-point stance. Okay, now Amir is assuming the position of a left side lineman. So he's going to drop his left foot back slightly, creating a stagger. We really emphasize that the toes remain straight ahead or actually slightly angled inside. Okay, and his heels will be out. He'll bend his knees as he did before, fingertips at the top of the knee. The reason we emphasize that is so that he can move his head side to side and he can scan the defense in his preset position. Okay, again, his elbows are against his ribs and all the points, his toes, his knees, his hips, his shoulders are all pointed straight ahead with his face up. All right, look from side to side. He's looking at the defense and making his line calls. This is our 2-point or preset position. All right, Amir is going to assume that he's on the right side. He's in his preset position. And now we're going to go down to a 3-point stance. So what we're going to ask him to do as a right-handed lineman, place his down hand, that being his right hand, the same hand corresponding to the foot that's back. He's going to place his 5 fingers on the ground with his palm off the ground. So his hand is going to cup, and it's going to be placed so that the middle finger of his down hand is directly under his right eyeball. His head is against his shoulders so that he can see approximately 3 yards in front of him. Now Amir is assuming a left-handed stance. Same principles. He's in his 2-point stance or his preset position. He's got his stagger. His left foot is back, elbows against his rib cage, eyes are up, head can move. Okay, on the call of down, on down, he will place his down hand under his left eyeball, once again, keeping a flat back, hips slightly higher than his shoulders, his head against it, the back of his neck, so that he can see about 3 yards in front of him. We talk about getting the eyes up and not the head up. If he brings his head up, he's going to drop his tail, and that's not what we want. Now that places all the weight in his hips. Okay, as he raises his hips up and his eyes are up, he's going to have a good balanced stance with all 3 of those points, the 2 feet and the hand, sharing the weight equally among those 3 points. All right, once we feel that our offensive linemen have taken a good stance and that they're consistent with it, both right side and left side, we then do what we call a break drill. So we're going to have Amir assuming that he's in an offensive huddle. I'm going to say, the coach is going to say break. All right, on break, he's going to come out of the huddle, break. And he's going to approach the line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage is that line, imaginary line, where the ball is placed, separating the offensive lineman from the defensive lineman. Okay, so as Amir comes, he's going to assume a right-handed stance. He's got his stagger. He's in his preset position. He's making his line calls, so he's moving his head, communicating with his line teammates. When I say down, down, he's going to quickly go to a 3-point stance, emphasizing the things that we had talked about before. A good stagger, elbows against the ribs, with the eyes up, able to see 3 yards ahead. So Amir now is going to do it full speed, this time in a left-handed stance, and he'll go through the whole thing in the way that we'd like it to be done. Ready? Break! So he sets his feet, very important. Okay, we said left-handed stance this time. There we go. All right, so now he's got his left foot back, and he's going to place his left hand down when I say set. Set. Okay, and that's a pretty good job. So we ask our offensive linemen to do that so that they master coming out, getting set at the line of scrimmage, and getting ready to go from a good 3-point stance position. All right, once we have mastered the stance, both preset position and the 2-point stance and the 3-point stance, we're now going to talk about our first steps in the 7 blocks that make up our toolbox. We have 7 blocks that we use in our running game. The first one being the base block, and it's called base for that very reason. It's the basis for every other block. So we want to start and we want to follow a progression of steps that are going to lead to excellent execution of the base block. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to ask Amir to get in a preset position. We are going to provide each of our offensive linemen with this 4-inch board that's 1 inch in thickness. It can be a foot to maybe 14 inches, and Amir knows what to do with that. he's going to place that board with the east-west length in front of his back foot. So he's assuming a right-handed stance. He's in this preset position that we've talked about, and we're going to work on the first step of a base block. And a base block is used when there is a defender playing directly in line with us in a head-up position, like I'm going to demonstrate the defensive position. Amir's going to be in his preset, and I'm going to be nose to nose with him. Okay, I can be representing a defensive lineman separated by an arm's distance or about a yard, or I could be a linebacker off the ball about 4 yards. So it doesn't really matter. I just want to be in a nose-to-nose position. Okay? So in a base block, the defender is right on our nose, and the ball is going to be run directly behind us, right over us. So in reality, it's not very often that an offensive lineman gets a chance to execute a base block in a ball game. But here's the point. Eventually, all the other types of blocks turn into a base block. It's just a matter of how do we arrive at the position. So we start this way, defender nose up, and the offensive lineman in a 2-point stance. So we'll just go from a 2-point stance. The first step start on a base block is taken with the back foot. In this case, it's his right foot. It's going to be straight ahead, clearing the board. Okay, bring it back. And we want to make sure that the step is not too long or too short. It should be 4 inches in length. So as Amir executes this, he's going to take 1 step with his back foot. Let's walk through it and demonstrate from a 2-point stance, Amir. Okay, when I say set, go, he's going to step on go. Set, go. He's just going to clear the board. He's gotten his foot down into the ground quickly, and he wants to freeze in that position. Let's do it again with speed. From a 2-point stance. Okay, set, go. Excellent. Okay, as he holds that position, he's taken the proper step. His left foot has not moved. His elbows are against his ribs. His face is up, and he's leading with his triangle, and his rudder is right at the defender. Okay, let's try it again. We want this step to be taken as quickly as possible and get it into the ground. So, again, from a 2-point stance. Sit, go. Excellent. Okay, you see that he has kept his chest over his knee, providing a very small, vulnerable area. All right, stand back. As he stands up, the distance between Amir's shoulders and his waist, we refer to as the vulnerable area. This is the area that the defender wants to get his hands on the blocker. So if I am able, as the defender, to get my hands inside of Amir, I have control. So we want our offensive lineman, in nearly every case, to get his hands inside the defenders. So if we can do this again, first step start on a base block from a 2-point stance. Okay, sit, go. You'll see that he has a very small, vulnerable area. We talk about chest over knee, which is excellent. Face up, elbows tight. Nobody can get to that vulnerable area. Now Amir is in a left-handed stance. We're going to do the first step start on a base block. Okay, here we go. Sit, go. Okay, again, perfect length. He's balanced. His feet are under his shoulders. His chest is over his knee. His knees are over his toes. Face is up. You want to arch a little bit more of the back to get the chest up. Now we're going to put together the various elements we've practiced so far. So we're going to start in the huddle. Coach is going to yell, break. We approach the line of scrimmage. Amir's going to be in a right-handed stance. We're still using the board. He's in a preset. He's checking his line calls. Down. Sit, go. and he takes his one step, and you can see the stagger, and you can see the close elbows, small vulnerable area. Very good. Ready? Break. He's in a right-handed stance, takes his preset, okay, checking the front, down, sit, go. Good. Another good example. Okay, now we're going to have him do the same thing, only this time with a left-handed stance. So let's say he's a left tackle. All right, ready? Break. Very good. Preset. Left foot is back. Okay, and a stagger. Down. He's going to put his left hand down, corresponding to his left foot being back. Sit. Go. One step. You see how the hips rotate? Okay, but he still has his head up and a flat back. Ready? Break. Okay, this time, again, he's a left-handed lineman. We're going to go from a two-point stance, which we will run from a two-point stance occasionally. He's in his good preset position, and on set go, he's going to step with his left foot. Set, go. Very good. Okay, so again, we're emphasizing stance as a first progression. Then we're going to, from the preset down to a three-point stance. And our first step on a base block is with our back foot directly at the defender. All right, continuing with a description of some of our terms. In each block, we talk to our offensive linemen about, first of all, point of departure. Where are they going to have to direct their first step in order to make a successful block? So if we can go back to our base block, and if you could assume a right-handed stance here. Okay, on a base block, the first step is taken with the back foot directly at the defender. So it's straight ahead. Again, when do we use a base block? When the defender is aligned, going back to your original preset, head up on us, and the ball is being run directly behind us. So his point of departure is going to be, if he'll just walk through his first step, right at the defender. Okay? A couple of other terms that we use besides point of departure is point of aim. His point of aim is, where is he going to place his rudder and his triangle on the defender to make a successful block. Additionally, on point of aim are the position of his hands. So when we talked about leverage, we talked about vertical leverage, up and down, horizontal leverage, inside or outside or east-west. We also want to talk about hand leverage. I mentioned that a little bit in a previous segment about the elbows being on the ribs, thumbs being up, and hands generally being inside, right? Okay, so if we go back and we say, going back to a two-point stance on a base block, Amir's point of departure is going to be straight ahead, go, and his point of aim is to take his hands and place them at the base of my ribs, with his shoulder pads, the top of his shoulder pads being below the bottom of mine, and the top of his head being under my chin. Okay, so we talk about a point of departure, a point of aim. The final thing is point of contact. So what he wants to do when he makes contact, we look at this from the side. I'm about an arm's distance away representing a defensive lineman, and I'll try to bend a little bit. We'll do this from a two-point stance. Amir takes his first step, his point of departure straight ahead. His aiming point is with the heels of his hands to the bottom of my numbers, or my short ribs. He takes his second step, and he's establishing contact. His point of contact, hands to the bottom of my ribs, his triangle, and this is hard for him to relax a little bit. He wants to bring his triangle to my triangle and keep it as tight as he possibly can. We call that a fit position. So let's get fitted now on a base block. Okay, as you can see, his elbow should be a little bit tighter to his ribs and under his armpits. His back's got to arch a little. He's not making contact with his head or his rudder, but he's making contact with his triangle. So, points of contact, points of aim, and points of departure are all things that an offensive lineman has to consider in making a successful
So we're
block.
talking about
Teaching in a progression. We've already introduced first step starts on a base block. So again, we have 7 offensive line techniques, run blocks, and we present them and teach them in exactly the same sequence. First step start. Now we're going to the second progression, which is our second step. We call these boom booms because that's the sound we want to hear with their feet if we were on a hardwood floor in our gym, and we should get the same idea somewhat out here on this tennis court surface. Okay, so again, Amir's going to go from just a 2-point stance now, right-handed stance. On set go, he's going to step with his back foot as he did before, but now he's going to also step with his left foot, and he's going to freeze on the finish. Both of those steps are short in length, 4 to 6 inches, and then he's going to freeze on the finish in perfect position on a base block. Okay, here we go. From a preset position, 2-point stance. Okay, sit, go. Boom, boom. You heard it? Okay, come on back. Let's try to freeze a little bit after the second step, Amir, so we can check out your position. Okay? Again, boom, booms. First 2 steps on a base block. Sit, go. 1, 2, freeze. Okay, again, we're emphasizing, keep the chest over the knee, small vulnerable area. Face is up, the eyes are up, elbows tight, and a good stagger balance in the feet, and a good flat back. All right, let's try it again. This time from a left-handed preset position. Okay, he's got his left foot back, preset. Gonna step with his left foot first over the board, and then his right foot is going to step to complete the boom boom sequence. Really pound the feet into the ground. Sit, go. 1, 2, excellent, stay. His feet are solidly into the ground. He's not on the front half of his foot. He's not on the balls of his feet. He's flat-footed, flat back, everything working in a straight line on a base block with his eyes up and his elbows tight. Very good. Okay, as a final step, on a base block, boom booms, we're gonna go from a 3-point stance. So again, let's come back to the huddle. Okay, on break, he's gonna come out, get his preset position. I'll say down, he'll go to a 3-point stance, and he'll take his first 2 steps as boom booms on a base block from a right-handed stance. Ready, break. Approaches the line of scrimmage, sets his feet, locks his feet into position, preset, makes his line calls. Hey, okay, down, set, go. 1, 2, all right, now, a little bit out of balance that time because the second step was a little bit too far. Let's try it again. Remember, we're now filming this in April, and we haven't practiced this since November. So if anything, that's a great example to say that practice is very important in maintaining what you've learned, right? You can't put it away and then pick it up several months later and expect it to be as good as it was when you were consistently practicing. All right, so we'll try it this time from a left-handed 3-point stance. Boom, boom. Ready, break. Okay, we're in we'll be in a 3-point stance from a left side of the line, alignment, and a stance. Down, set, go. 1, 2, much better. And now he freezes. He's got the good stagger. He's got a toe to heel relationship. We want to maintain that. We want to look at the back. We want to make sure that he's got a good wide base. His face is up, and that's a good job. Now we're progressing to our third step in our teaching progression, and that is step to fit. So first of all, let's review what we mean by fit. If we can get Amir to bend his knees. Okay, I'm playing the defender now. He wants to put his hands on me in the position that he would strike in making a base block. Again, getting his triangle as close fitted to the defender's triangle as he possibly can, keeping in mind his up-down leverage, both with his shoulder pads and his helmet, bending his knees and getting his hands inside. So that's the fit position, okay? And now we're gonna put it together. So he's gonna take his 2 steps, and in most blocks that we will teach, the lineman should be making contact on his second step. A point I not mentioned earlier is our first step in just about every block sets up our block. The second step initiates contact, and the third and subsequent steps are drive steps. So first step sets up your block. You should not be making contact on your first step. Second step, usually you'll make contact on your second step. Third step is a drive step and completion of the block. Okay, so what we want to do now is basically boom booms, but we want to add a defender, so we want to make contact. Another point we want to make is on the second step, as we make contact, we want to emphasize the punch. All right, so if Amir will get down in the 2-point stance, I want him to take his boom booms, and I want you to watch now the force that he's going to bring with his arms and his hands to make contact, to make a solid punch, a forceful punch on the defender. Okay, so we're just going to watch boom booms, emphasizing now his upper body punch as he goes. Okay? 2-point stance is good. Set, go. 1, 2. Okay, now come on back. That's one thing we don't want to extend our arms.
Yeah.
Okay? We always want to keep our elbows on our ribs, and we don't want to extend our arms out. We will emphasize this point. We, as human beings, are 2-legged animals. And if you think of a boxer, he punches from his shoulder and not his legs. He always keeps a slight bend in his elbows. The point that we make often to our linemen is in boxing, the knockout punches generally travel only 4 to 6 inches. It's not the jab that's most effective as a knockout punch. It's that short stroke of a 4 to 6 inch punch that brings power. So if we can look at this from the side, this time Amir, as you punch, keep in mind we don't want to fully extend. All right, here we go. From a 2-point stance, right-handed lineman, set, go. That's a little better. Okay, one more time. They're gonna bring those elbows and those arms as quickly as possible, striking the defender at the base of his rib cage, short ribs, with the base of his number, with the heels of our hands, thumbs up and elbows tight. Okay, one more from the right side, and then we'll take it from the left side. Set, go. Better. It's a 4 to 6 inch strike with real force. Okay, from the left side now. Okay, this is going to be boom boom, so we're going to emphasize that punch. Down. Set, go. Boom. Good. Okay, again, it's a thing that we have to practice constantly to make sure that we're not fully extended. The point we were making before, if Amir were a 4-legged animal like a dog or a deer, they're not very balanced if they're on their hind legs. right? So when we talk about being a two-legged animal, we're talking about Homo erectus now, right? A human being with a straight spine that can keep his shoulders back while his arms are coming forward. He can stay balanced. Okay, all right. So now we're going to add myself as the defender, and we're going to see Amir two-step fit on a base block. So we're going to look at it from the side and then from the back. All right, so when we do this, we do not need pads, okay? Amir will be in a three-point stance. He'll take his 2 steps. As he gets in his three-point stance, get in your three-point stance now, all the way down. I, as a defender, I'm going to just put my arm out here. That should be about a yard in length. And Amir, just walk through 1, 2, and fit your block. Good. That's what we want. Okay? We'll do it fast. And I'll keep my head and shoulders back. You feel me?
Yeah.
All right. It's critical, without pads, that the man that's playing the defense, the defensive player, not lean forward, or he'll get his chin whacked and either bite his tongue or have his teeth knocked out. So I'm going to arch my back, keep my head and my teeth, my nose out of the play. Okay? So here we go. Step to fit on a base block. Down. Set. Go. Good. And he wants to hold that position. Okay? Check out, get the feel for what the block is like. Now, as we repeat the step to fit on a base block, it's important to notice the direction of his eyes. Amir's eyes should be on my chin. That's going to keep him a little bit tighter, his hips a little tighter to the defender. All right, so here's where we go again. Full speed on a step to fit on a base block. Down. Set, go. 1, 2. You can see how he's straightening. That keeps his chest close and tight on his fit. Okay, one of the effective tools that we've developed over the years are these silhouettes that we will have on our practice field and in our workout area. And what it represents now is the shape of a defender. So we can have these at different heights. Right now we have it set kind of representing a high school defensive lineman. We can raise it up a little bit and make it a linebacker. So what we want to do now is we want to use those target areas that we talked about before, about point of departure, point of aim, point of contact. And we'll also emphasize some leverage things that we did outside. Okay, so what Amir's going to do, he's going to step to fit on a base block against this silhouette. Now, he's not going to go full speed. He's just going to step to it and fit his block on that silhouette. Okay, Amir, down the three-point stance. Again, he's not going full speed. Set, go. Step to his back foot, and he just gets the feel of his head position, the position of his triangle. His elbows are tight. His face is slightly up on the chin. The top of his helmet should be at the base of the man's chin strap. So Amir's got to bend his knees a bit more than he has. Let's try it again, Amir, if we could. In the three-point stance, stepping with the right foot first from a right-hand stance. Set, go. 1, 2, excellent. Okay, we see it from behind. I should not see his arms at all. His elbows are in tight. That's good. His thumbs are up. His hands are in the position we talked about at the base of the numbers, and a good wide base. Let's try it one more time. It's pretty uncomfortable. Stay in that position. Okay? All right, this time we're going to go from a left-handed stance. Again, this is a base block, so the defender is playing right on our nose, and the ball is coming right behind Amir. So we're in a short yardage situation. We're 4th and 1. Or maybe we're on the goal line ready to win the game. We got to make this block. Okay, so again, step to fit on a base block. Set, go. 1, 2, excellent. Okay, he's bringing his chest as close to the defender as he can. He's putting his triangle on his triangle. Good position of his rudder, good position of his hands. All right, step back now. A couple points that we want to make with the silhouette. Obviously, this is the helmet, shoulder pads. We've got a couple of dots, indicators, as to where we want our rudder placed. So, center of the cylinder or the silhouette, right in the center of his chest, armpit, armpit. We use those for points of contact on our blocks. So we're going to go to step back a little bit now that we have the silhouette and talk a little bit about how we gain leverage on our block. All right, now we're going to really emphasize gaining leverage. And another term that we want to introduce at this point, you can stand up, Amir, is point of attack. Point of attack is where the ball is designed to go, either to the right or to the left, either off tackle, inside the guard, wherever. But point of attack means where the ball is going, and that's important for the offensive lineman because he's got to gain leverage in the direction the ball is going. In other words, he's got to put his rudder in an advantageous spot on the defender to ensure the success of the play. So if we can get Amir back, and we're going to start him in a nose up, nose to nose alignment. Now, if the ball were going to the right, outside of Amir, we're going to ask him, get your rudder to the play side pectoral muscle or number of the defender. So let's do that again. All right, so the defender is playing us head up. And we know the ball is going to the right outside of Amir. So what does he have to do to get his rudder to the play side? Demonstrate if you would. All right, he had to move his feet. Now his rudder, his nose, is on that outside pec so that he has a positional advantage on the defender in the direction the ball is going. All right, going back. Okay, now, if he was going to his left, the ball was going left, and here's the defender, he's lined up head up. Okay, how does he move his rudder? Well, he's got to move his feet. Let's watch it again. Now, without moving Amir, he could place his rudder to the outside pec without moving his feet. So try to do that. Okay. What did he have to do? He had to lean, his shoulders and his hips are cockeyed on an angle. But what we want to do most often is we want to stay square on our block. And we can get that way by moving our feet. So I'm going to ask Tyler, our video guy, who's been a tremendous resource in creating this tape, if he'll focus on Amir's feet now, and you're going to see how the movement of his feet is going to be responsible for his getting his rudder where it needs to be. Okay, so Amir on set, go. Set, go. All right, so now he's in a position where his rudder is on the outside pec of the defender with the ball going to his left outside. All right, so now we're going to do this quickly. Okay, and this is actually the next block that we're going to teach. And this is called a tight reach block. So, when can we use a tight reach? Well, the defender could be lined up head up on us, or he could be slightly to our outside in the direction of the play. So when do we use a tight reach? When the defender is lined up head up on us, or slightly to the play side of us. So, unlike a base block, our first step now is going to be a lateral step. All right, from a 2-point stance, we're going to go tight reach right. Right to left. Yep. So Tyler, if you will focus on his right foot. Okay, on a tight reach block, our first step is going to be a lateral step. Just to the side, in the direction the ball is going. Okay, so as we see this, he's just going to take his first step. First step start on a tight reach to the right. set, go. His left foot is not moved. His right foot moved about 4 to 6 inches and has now placed his rudder in the position that we need it to be, outside pec, in the direction of the ball. All right, let's try it again. Again, we would use a board and place the board flat against the side of Amir's foot so that he would step over that 1-inch board and place it outside the board with his toes pointed straight ahead, keeping his shoulders and his hips squared. Go ahead. Tight reach to the right. Set, go. Good. Now, if he overextended, do it again and really step too wide. Okay? All right, now he's going to overstep. Set, go. Now he took a real wide step and now he's lost leverage. Yes, he is outside the blocker, but the defender, but the defender could run through that crease. So again, it's just about a 4 to 6 inch step laterally to gain positional advantage. Final time, tight right, set, go. Good. Solidly into the ground. Okay, now let's try it to the left, just to demonstrate that. Now this time, this defender is going to be shaded, meaning he's going to be on the outside half of Amir. So when Amir lines up against the silhouette, his rudder is going to be on this side, so that when he steps, he's got to step a little wider so that his rudder gets to the outside pec. Okay? We good? All right, from a 2-point stance, tight reach left, lateral step, 1 step start. Set, go. Okay, very good. Nose is right there, rudder's right on his outside pec. His shoulders are square, his hips are square, his eyes are up. Okay, this time from a 3-point stance, tight reach left. First step start on a tight left. He could be in a right or left-handed stance. You got to do it both ways. Okay, here we go. From a 3-point stance. Set, go. 1, excellent. Very important point. We'll do that again. Just stop on the first step. Okay, now go head up this time. All right. Okay, we're going to go tight reach left and just hold it on the first step from the 3-point stance. Set, go. Okay, now that time he got his shoulders a little bit turned, and here's the key thing. If you step back, Amir, when I step laterally, I've got to keep the weight centered over my hips. So I can't step and lean this way, now I'm out of balance. So it's really important when I step laterally that I keep the weight balanced over my hips so I'm not leaning. Kind of like moving a stack of bricks, right? We don't want the top half to be curved. The whole thing will come down. Okay? So now we're going to progress to the second step in a tight reach block. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to take our second step, our boom boom, or our step to fit, because boom booms and step to fit are essentially the same, on a tight reach right to the right. So we've got our silhouette. We can do this half speed. We're just going to make sure that we integrate those steps into our muscle memory. So it's not important that we go fast. It's important that we go correctly. Okay, here we go. So we'll go from a 2-point stance first. Amir is facing a defender who's head up on him. He knows where the play is going. He knows where the point of attack is, to his right, to his outside right. So he's going to take his lateral step with his right foot, and then he's now going to bring his second foot, his backside foot, the toes, he's going to step directly for the center of that defender's body. Okay? And he's going to bring that knee and the backside hand forcefully into the center of this man's body, trying to cover up the play side half of the defender. Okay, so we're telling Amir you can go from a 2-point stance now, half speed, really emphasizing making the proper points of contact. Okay, his point of departure is laterally to the right, to the play side. Sit, go. Good. Whoa, holy cow, leave the building up there. Okay, that's a good punch. Right now, I don't want to punch it, just touch it.
Yeah.
Okay, with the palm, and that's an important point. We want to make contact with the heel of the hand, fingers up, and as we strike, we want to strike 4 inches above the belly button where the solar plexus is, where the center, all the nerves are in the body. So we want to strike forcefully, then we want our fingers to close and grab some flesh. Okay? Here we go. We don't hold. We don't hold the opponent's jersey. We hold his flesh. All right, here we go. Again, slow from a 2-point stance. The defender is head up. Ball's being run to Amir's right. So he's going to lateral step, bring the second step. Not quite as forcefully this time in the demonstration. Okay, here we go. Set, go. 1, 2. All right, now we freeze. So Amir's hand, elbow is in line with his ribs. Fingers are up. He's striking. His rudder is right on the outside pec, bringing his chest with the play side foot slightly back. That's excellent. Let's try it again. Okay, this time now, the defender is going to be slightly shaded to the play side. So Amir's going to be on the left side of the silhouette. He can still execute his tight reach. He has to step a little bit wider now so that he can get his rudder on the play side pec of the defender. Okay, again, a walk through from a right-handed stance. Okay, all right, 2-point. Set, go. 1, 2. You heard his feet. 1, 2. He's in good position. Now, it's important to note this hand we want to keep free. All right, step back. Because what we're executing on a tight reach block is half of a zone double team or a zone combination. So, if we come on back, if Amir were going to tight reach, he probably would have an adjacent lineman. In this case, if he was the right guard, I was the center, Amir takes his tight reach, I would be coming to block the backside half. The reason we keep the outside arm free is because Amir will ultimately come off this block and block a linebacker. By keeping his outside arm free, he's going to keep the defender from grabbing that arm or him getting pinned and not being able to get off to the linebacker. So it's a one-handed block on a tight right. Okay, final time tight right, and then we'll show a tight left. All right, this time the defender is shaded again to the play side. And we expect that Amir's tight reach technique, we can out leverage him. Okay, here we go. Set, go. 1, 2, again. Good. We call this a hip flipper now. When he brings that back foot, the toes to the center of the man's body and really punch that arm and bring the hip through hard. Okay? Now we're going to go tight left. The ball is going to our left. All right, if Amir will point to his left so everybody at home can see it. Okay, so against the head up defender, he's going to lateral step with his left foot, bring his right foot right to the center of the target. Okay, here we go. Walk through. Set, go. 1, 2, and again, keeping his outside arm free, blocking half of the defender. He's going to get help from an adjacent lineman who's inside. All right, final time. Tight left. And freeze on the finish. Set, go. Lateral step, bring the second step. Good. Hips and shoulders are square, eyes are up. Pads under, straining your eyes up to keep the triangle tight on the defender. Very good. Okay, the next progression in our 7 blocks into our 7 parts of our toolbox is a wide reach block. We just covered tight reach, where the defender is either head up
or slightly outside, and the ball's going outside. Now the defender is aligned perhaps on our outside shoulder, or maybe even not on any part of our body, not within the framework. So we really have to alter our point of departure so that we can out-leverage the defender on the side of the play. Okay, so we call this a wide reach block, and here's how it differs from a tight reach. I'm going to step with my play side foot, but instead of stepping laterally, I'm going to step for depth, away from the line of scrimmage, and width. We call it a bucket step. So what we're going to do is we take our board and we place it at approximately a 45 to a 60-degree angle. And on our first step, we want our heel and our toe to get width and depth away from the line of scrimmage so that our eyes and our rudder are at our point of aim, which is the outside pec of the defender. So again, starting with first step, start, we're just going to take our first step with our play side foot. Set, go. Okay, just like that. Now, come on back. A couple of points of emphasis on the first step. We're going to take our play side hand, if you get in a 2-point stance in there, we're going to take that hand from where it is on our knee, and we're going to pull it quickly to our hip, much like we pull the cord on a lawnmower, quickly. And what that does is that will help open up my hips and my shoulders. And a final point is my backside foot has to pivot as I do that. It doesn't lift, it doesn't move, it just pivots like a basketball player so that my shoulders and my hips are directed at the target. Okay, Amir, here we go. Just the first step on a wide reach block. Set, go. Good. Okay, but if you look, you see his backside toe is remaining straight ahead. It has to pivot.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here we go. Set, go. Much better. And now it's important that on that step, he's getting his eyes right to his point of aim. Okay, so point of departure is a bucket step. Point of aim, get your eyes and your rudder pointed at the outside pec. Here we go. First step start on a wide reach to the right. Set, go. Good. And this board, angled as it is, my foot should be on the opposite side from whence it started, and the toes should be in line as they are there. Okay? Now, second step. Actually, on a wide reach, we probably are not going to make contact until our third step. But for purposes of demonstration, it's going to be the second. So my second step now, after my bucket, is going to be with my backside foot, and I want to make sure that my backside foot is inside the nearer foot of the defender. My eyes are on my target, which is the outside pec, the play side pec. When I make contact, my inside hand is going to go to the solar plexus, and my outside hand is going to strike the armpit on the side of the play. Okay, so a two-step, step to fit on a wide reach block to the right. Okay, so just do it in first step and then pause and then take the second step in the air if you would. Set, go. First step start, eyes on the target. Second step, making contact, squaring up on the third step. Yep, okay, very well done. Let's try it again. Okay, so the inside hand is going to go to the center of the defender's body, the solar plexus. Outside hand to his armpit. We're striking him on an angle. And as we progress on the block, we'll demonstrate how we're going to square him up. Okay, just the two steps now. Concentrating on his footwork. Again, one step at a time. Sit, go. Open step, drop step, contact, punch the other outside hand. Good. And you got him turned. Good. Let's try it now to the left. when we wide reach, the defender is playing us maybe on our outside shoulder, or he might be totally removed and in the gap. The point I want to emphasize is this. If he were real wide for Amir, and Amir's trying to reach this guy, in other words, get outside leverage on him, that's a very difficult, if not impossible, block to make. If the defender is that wide, we're not going to try to reach him. We're just going to kick him out and block him to the sideline, and the ball carrier will then run inside the block. So we don't ask our guys to do the impossible, just the nearly impossible. Right? That's the standard. All right, so now we're in a left-handed stance. We're going to wide reach to our left. The ball's going outside. The defender is lined up on our outside shoulder. We're going to bucket step with our play side foot, the left. We're pulling that lawnmower cord to our hip, getting our eyes on our target, and pivoting on the back step. Okay, so first step start on a wide reach block to the left. Set, go. Excellent eyes, very good focus, like it. Small vulnerable area, chest on knee, very good. All right, let's try it again. One step on a wide reach to the left. Notice now that he's gaining depth and width on that first step. Set, go. Good, pivot on the back foot, okay, very good. All right, now we're gonna put the two steps together, step to fit. And again, I want to emphasize, normally on a wide reach, we're not going to make contact on the second step. It may take 3, perhaps even 4. Okay, here we go. So for purposes of demonstration, we're just going to make it 2. All right, here we go. 2 step, step to fit on a wide reach to the left. Set, go. There's this bucket step, second step. That second step again is to the inside of the defender's near foot. So if I were the defender, okay, that second step wants to be between my feet, with the inside hand punching the solar plexus and the outside hand ready to punch for the armpit. Okay? All right, both steps now, wide reach to the left. All right, we're running this on the goal line. It's 4th and 4, and we need to make this block. We're running toss to the left, and if we score, we want to stay tight. Here we go.
Full speed?
As quick, under control. All right, sit, go. 1, 2, oh! That's why we don't want to do full speed.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a very slippery floor. Let's try it again. 2 steps, slow it down. Okay, set, go. Pulls the hand, brings the second step, and punches, and we got him squared up, and we're ready to drive. I think we scored. What do you think, Tyler?
Definitely.
We scored.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Okay, another very important part of being an offensive lineman is aligning so that you can effectively make your block. We talk about the distance between each offensive lineman. In this case, Amir is our center. This board represents the inside foot of an offensive guard. In this case, it would be the right guard. The second board represents the inside foot of the right tackle. And as we work across to the left, this would be the inside foot of the left guard and the inside foot of the left tackle. So the distance between the offensive linemen we call the splits. And typically at Hunterdon Central, we're going to take a 2-foot split between our center and our guard, a 2-foot split between our guard and our tackle, and usually a 3-foot split between our tackle and our tight end or our H-back. Now, an important point is those suggestions in terms of the distance and the split are just that, suggestions. We have a base. We start with a 2 or 3-foot split, but based on the play, we may widen our split or tighten our split depending on the play and depending on the defense that we're going against. So the terms that we use to describe that are take smart splits. Know the play, know where the defense is lined, and take a split that's going to help you achieve your objective. All right, another important part of playing offensive line, along with splits, is our alignment relative to the position of the center. So in this case, Amir is the center, and his feet have to be locked in based on the position of the ball. So if he'll kind of assume a 2-point stance, as if he's ready to snap the ball. The boards now represent the different alignments relative to the center's alignment. So, if I were the left guard in this case, and I want to take the proper alignment, I take my normal split, 2 to 3 feet, and I'm going to place my inside toe in line with the heel of the center. So as the center gets down, and I'm down, I'll always be on side, okay? We call this the middle position in our alignment. That is, the guard's inside toe is to the heel of the center. The tackle's inside toe would be lined up with the guard's inside toe. Now, tackles tend to be a little bit bigger, taller players than the guards, so he may have to move back slightly. But the idea is, by taking the proper middle alignment, and that's what we use most often, we don't have our offensive line bowed. If you looked at them from the side, their hips and their heads ought to be at the same level. Okay? That's the middle position, and that's where we are most of the time. Okay, another position would be for us to take our inside foot for our guard and our tackle, and to place it halfway on the center's foot. Now, as the center gets down and we get down, we're very close to the ball. We call this the up position. The tackle again would line up his inside foot to the guard's inside foot. The tight end would line up his inside foot to the tackle's inside foot, and so on. The reason we would use the up position is if we were in a short yardage situation or a goal line where we really want to get into the defensive players as quickly as we can and as explosively. So we have a middle position where the toes are at the heel of the center, a mid position where they're in the middle of the center's foot, and the final position now doesn't really refer to the feet. It refers to the ear hole of the player's helmet. So in this situation, we call this back. Center gets out over the ball. The guard is going to align so that his ear hole is in line with the center's hip. So we're very much more back from the ball, from the line of scrimmage, and we would use this in situations where we're more likely to pass the ball. Long yardage situations, or if we're encountering a defense with a lot of twists or stunts or blitzes. So those three alignments, up in short yardage, goal line, middle, which is what we're going to use most of the time in normal down situations, and back when we need a long distance to gain our first down, usually a passing situation. Okay, the next block that we want to introduce is what we call a ram block. A ram block is executed when we are working our zone, both inside zone and outside zone plays. So when you execute a ram block, you are expecting help from an adjacent line teammate. So in this case, I'll represent the center, Amir will represent the right guard, and if he bends down a little bit, you should be able to see that our silhouette now is on an inside shade on Amir. The ball is going outside of both me as the center and Amir. Amir already has leverage on his block. As he gets down, his rudder is clearly in the position he wants it to be in based on the alignment of the defender. So in a ram block, since the man executing the block already has leverage, he's going to pick up and put down with the foot, with his play side foot, the foot corresponding to where the ball is going, and that is just a very quick up and down step. It's actually a delayed kind of step. He's going to take his second step now with his inside foot, bring his hip flipper along with his elbow and his arm and his hand, and he's going to block half of the defender. His adjacent teammate will step and he'll block the half that Amir is not blocking. So it's going to be a double team block, and both of these two blockers will have their eyes on a linebacker, and they will come off, whichever offensive lineman needs to come off to block the linebacker who is scraping either inside or outside. So on a ram block, once again, the foot to the side of the play side foot, is going to pick up and put down. Very low to the ground. It's just a hesitation step. Going to step with his inside foot, bring his hip and his arm, and make contact on half. His adjacent teammate is going to cover up the backside half, and that is our ram block. So Amir's going to demonstrate it both to the right, in this case, okay? So from a 2-point stance, as quickly as you can, don't knock the wall down now. All right, a ram block, set, go, bang, good. And as you can see, his rudder is clearly on the outside pec. His hand is at the solar plexus. His elbow is tight to his body. He's in a perfect line this way. He needs to get his face up a little bit, and he's in good position. All right, let's demonstrate a ram block to the left now. You are now the left guard, okay? And I'm gonna be the center. So now the defender is playing an inside alignment, a shaded alignment on the guard. I am the center. The ball is going to be run outside of Amir to his left, so he already has leverage by alignment on the defender. So this time, he's going to step with his outside foot, his play side foot, up and down, and he's going to step with his inside foot as he did before, striking the inside half of the defender. Okay, here we go. Just demonstrate it. Inside foot up and down. Pick up, put down, set, go. Nope. All right, that was a good example because he did it incorrectly. Oh, or no, we didn't. All right, we'll have to cut that out. All right, we'll have to edit that. All right, you're right. The play side foot is going to pick up, put down. He's going to step hard with his inside foot. Okay, ready? Go. That's it. Okay, so even the coach makes mistakes on occasion. All right, one more time. Okay, this time I'm going to represent the center, and I'm going to work with Amir, okay? He's going to execute a ram block, and I'm going to execute a drive block, which we're going to get to momentarily, okay? So I'm the center. We're running our play to the left, okay? On go. Set, go. So our double team, we should get hip to hip, and shoulder to shoulder, and we want to drive this defender straight back with both of our eyes, all four of our eyes looking at the linebacker. Okay, so that is our ram block used when we already have leverage prior to the snap on the defender that we have to block. All right, between segments or chapters in this line tape, just want to show you a little motivation. This is a shirt that was created by one of our offensive linemen as we approach the 1998 season. His name is Nick Mern. He played center for us. Obviously, this is the Red Devil. And we wanted to send a message to our opponents that we were really ready, that we were looking forward to the 98 season. So the Red Devil is saying, see you in the playoffs. And if there was any doubt, we put on the back just exactly where our opponents could find us. And where we, right there in the center of the state, we're interested in establishing one of the great football programs in the state and actually throughout the country. So I want to acknowledge Nick's contributions to our program. In 1998, we went on and we won 12 consecutive games, and winning our, I think it was our third state championship. Okay, so this was a big part of it, and I encourage all of you to dream big and you can achieve what you set out to do. Okay, a block that we use most often, and certainly we use it almost exclusively when we are zone blocking, is a drive block. So a drive block is used when, if Amir will get down, he is now, let's say, a left guard, and the defender is lined up outside shoulder of him. And the ball is going to be run inside. So the defender is to his outside, but the point of attack is going to be inside that defender's alignment. So we execute a drive block. If we get down in a 2-point stance, our first step, our point of departure, is with our play side foot, the nearest foot. So in this case, you'll see as he takes his first step, he's going to point that foot directly to the center of this defender's body. We call it the center of his cylinder. The backside foot will pivot so that his hips and his shoulders are square to the target, the center of the cylinder. Okay, let's try it again. First step start, drive block to the left. The ball would be going to Amir's inside right. Okay, first step start, freeze on the finish. Set, go. Good. All right, so right now, hips and shoulders are in line, eyes are on the target. Our point of aim again, we want to place our rudder right to the center of the cylinder. Okay? All right, so we're talking now about the point of contact on a 2-step drive block to the left. So as Amir steps with his play side foot, he's going to bring his second step to the target. His play side hand is going to be at the solar plexus, and his backside hand is going to shoot for the rib cage initially of the defender, and as he continues his block, it's going to work up through his armpit. So if we could just take a look at a drive block to the left, the ball will be hitting inside to Amir's right, okay? The defender to his left. All right, 2 steps, boom, boom, step to fit. Set, go. 1, 2, excellent. Okay, try it again. The surface that we're working on is very slippery. The reason for the silhouette, we want to make sure that Amir's head is below the chin. So it was a little bit too high that time, but we'll give him a break because the floor is so slippery. So not full speed, but under control because of the floor being slippery. All right, drive block to the left from a 2-point stance. Set, go. 1, 2, and we fit it. All right, we're going to check this hand position, elbow close to your ribs. I should not even see his arms from behind. That's very good. All right, let's try a drive block to the right now, just so that we can see that. Okay, now the ball is going to be run inside of Amir to his left, but the defender is to his right, outside. He's shaded to his right. So Amir's, in this case, going to step with his play side foot, which is his right. Aiming point is to the center of the cylinder, point of departure, point of contact, inside hand will go to the solar plexus, outside hand to his ribs, and then work up through into his armpit. Okay, here we go. Drive block to the right. Defender is to, right, drive block right. Ball's going to the left. Set, go. First step, excellent, good fit. Once again, we want to see his hips are square to the target, shoulders, elbow a little bit tighter, okay? And that's a pretty good job. So he's going to continue to drive in that angle and take the defender back. That is a drive block. Okay, the opposite of a drive block now is a down block. So in this particular situation, a defender is lined up in a shaded position, and he could potentially rush through the gap between the 2 offensive linemen. So on a down block, here's how we describe a down block. It's a block in the direction of the football. So in this case, let's say that Amir is a right tackle and I'm the right guard. And Amir is responsible for blocking this man to his inside, but the ball is going outside of his block. So he's going to block down toward the football, and the ball's going outside. That is a down block. All right, our concern is that this defender beat his block and penetrate into the backfield, which is something we never want to see happen. Okay? So, if Amir will take his right-handed stance as if he's the right tackle, and he's got an alignment to his inside shade, we would call this a 4-eye alignment. If that doesn't register with you yet, it will as we progress. Okay? But here's the offensive right tackle, here's the defender to his inside, and in the down block, Amir's going to step with his play side foot, with his inside foot, his near foot, at the center of the cylinder, just as he did in a drive block. Okay? His target area is the center of the cylinder. As he takes his second step, his boom boom, the inside hand is going to shoot for the solar plexus, 4 inches above the belly button, and his outside hand is going to drive for the opponent's ribs and then work up as he takes his block. So if we come back and we do it in about half speed, we'll see that it's really the opposite of a drive block. The ball is going outside to Amir's right. The defender he's responsible for is inside. So if you just watch his footwork, set, first step with his near foot, go. Second step brings it, makes contact on the second step. His third step is going to drive the defender in that direction. Okay? All right. Now, one back if we would. Now, perhaps the defender is in the gap. No part of his body is in line with Amir's body. So now our concern really is, if we step in exactly the same way, we may not get enough of the man's body to prevent him from penetrating. So now we have to change our technique and our approach to our block. We call this a Zong block, Z-O-N-G. And in this situation, what we want to do is get our head and our furthest shoulder, in this case his right shoulder, across and in front of the defender, cutting off his penetration. Okay? So, in this particular situation, this is a Zong block. The ball is still going outside of Amir to his right, and the defender is inside. Amir's just a little concerned that a down block may not be able to get there. So now, as he gets into stance, he's going to take his first step with his near foot, like he did before. Go ahead. But now, his eyes, his point of aim is not the center of the cylinder, it's the far thigh pad of the defender. Okay? So, if you will demonstrate it again, your first step and the eyes are now going to this far thigh pad. Okay? Watch his first step. First step and freeze. Set, go. Okay. Again, just like we saw with the wide reach, he pulls his hand to his hip. Eyes are on the target. One more time, Amir, please. Okay, we're now working on a Zong block. Okay, it's an addition to the down block. We're worried about penetration. Set, go, open. Okay, second step would now, okay, right here, get down. It's low for that far thigh pad of the defender. So we want to get our head and our chest across and actually prohibit or prevent the defender from rushing up the field. One more time, we'll demonstrate it against our silhouette. This is a Zong block, Z-O-N-G, when we're concerned about penetration. Okay? Here we go. Just step to fit it against the wall. Set, go. 1, 2, and now, obviously, the defender could make contact and spin out. That is certainly a vulnerability in a Zong block. We will work on techniques to prevent a defender from rotating or rolling out of a Zong block, okay? And we'll demonstrate that as we go through this tape. Okay, final point now if Amir moves back just a little bit, and now, okay, let's be a left side tackle now, so the defender's to his inside right. We would use a down block or a zone block also against the linebacker. So the linebacker might be up to 5 yards off the ball, but he's our responsibility. We have to down block him with the same technique, with this exception. Our tight ends and our tackles use down blocks against linebackers. It is probably their favorite block because in many cases, the linebacker never sees them coming. And this is the one time when we down block against the linebacker that we allow our linemen to play high, to play tall. Because what we're going to do now, the linebacker helmet would probably be at this level, and our tackle as he comes down, we ask him to place the Rydell across the bridge of his nose on his helmet, to place that right in the ear hole of the linebacker. So if I were being the linebacker and Amir comes down and he places his Rydell right in my ear, I usually am not going to see it. So it can be a very effective block, and it's a way that we kind of pay back those linebackers for the other times that make our lives miserable. Okay, so in here we've been talking about a ram block, we've been talking about a drive block, a down block, and a zone block. Okay, and now we're going to progress into some other aspects of offensive lineman. All right, a really important part of the development of an offensive lineman is his partner. So in this case, I'm being Amir's partner. I'm holding the bag. We call these shields or bags. We have no dummies. We have no dummy holders. We have shields, and we really emphasize to our players, when you're holding a shield, you are taking the role of an assistant coach. I am working to make him better, okay? And that's a real important responsibility. Now, on this bag, there are 2 straps. We're fortunate to have that. I'm gonna put my arm through. My dominant arm goes through both straps. My left arm goes at the bottom, and I pull the bag to my body. I don't try to hold the bag out here. I protect my chest, and I want to keep it tight against my body so that that lineman gets the benefit of this drill. If I hold it out here, he hits it, the thing moves, he doesn't get the right technique. Okay, so I'm gonna hold the bag as well as I can, and what we're gonna demonstrate now is a step to fit, a 2-step, boom, boom, bringing the punch, bringing the feet, making good solid contact on the bag, and freezing on the finish. Okay, Amir? On my set, go. From a 3-point stance, raise your hips a little bit. All right, sit, go. Boom. Okay, so now we want to see a good wide base, faces up, hands inside, and he's trying to bring his triangle to the triangle of the defender. All right, very good. All right, so really bring it this time. Freeze on the finish. Sit, go. Good. Okay. Now, we tell our offensive linemen that even a person that does not have the capability of seeing can tell whether we have a good offensive line by the sound that our linemen make on their punch. So we really want to bring our hands as we bring our triangle and our feet and our hips and our knees and really explode into the defender. Okay, final time now. Now, one thing I want to emphasize, we are going to move our feet because we want to get movement on the defender. We believe that we can move the defender off the ball. It's part of our lineman's creed. But even more important than feet is the action of the knees. We will emphasize our knees punching forward in the block and not just chopping our feet. Okay, so final time now, step to fit on a base block. Really bring it. Sit, go. Good. All right, well done. You see how tight Amir had remained on his block. Okay? All right, now what we're gonna do in a base block, we're already fitted. Okay, so we're gonna fit our block, And on the command, Amir is going to drive me. And that's the term we use. We don't use the term push. We use the word drive. And to drive, he's going to punch his knees forward, gaining ground with every step, staying tight against the bag, and moving me back for a distance of about 10 yards. Okay? So now we're already fitted. We're in perfect position on our block. We're going to stay tight. And on go, you're going to see him punch his knees forward, keeping his shoulders over his knees and his knees over his toes and his face up. Set, go! Good. Go! Good. Okay, we're now going to demonstrate Amir putting it all together from his preset to his three-point stance to his first step start to his step to fit to his fit to drive. We call this blow it out. Just putting it all together from beginning to end, full speed. All right. Down. Set. Go. 1, 2. Drive, 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 drive. Finish. All right. Once again, blow it out on a base block from a 2-point stance, putting it all together. Down. Set. Go. Drive, 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 drive. Good. Okay, right now we're going to demonstrate a tight reach block to the right, and it'll be step to fit. So the first step will take Amir off the white line where his right foot is going to be placed. His second step will be with his left foot for the center, hip flipper, hand, one-handed block. Okay, a tight reach to the right, step to fit. Set, go, boom, okay? Now, right here, you see that his eyes are kind of pointed outward and his shoulders and his hips are turned. Not exactly what we want. Try it again.
Yeah, my foot is
And you want to stay square with your feet. So your toes should be pointed straight ahead after you take your 2 steps. Here we go again. Tight reach to the right, step to fit. Set, go. Bang, that's much better. Good. You see the square shoulders, the hips. His outside arm is free. Inside hand to the solar plexus, eyes on his outside pec. Very well done. Tight reach to the left. So the ball is going to Amir's left. The defender is in that side, so he's got to move his feet to get his rudder to the outside pec of the defender. Okay, step to fit, tight reach left. Sit, go. And there you are again, a little bit too high with the hand position. Okay, but we'll make corrections on that. Here we go, tight left, sit, go. Step to fit, much better. Okay, from behind, we should not see his arms. He's keeping his elbow tight, and he's thrusting that hand, the palm open, the heel of the hand, and then he's grabbing for flesh. Okay, now we're gonna go fit to drive on a tight reach right. So Amir is gonna keep, I'm sorry, that's tight reach to the left, right here. All right, we'll demonstrate that. Tight to the left, he'll keep his left arm free and he'll pump it as if he's sprinting. His right hand will be on the solar plexus, his eyes on the play side pec of the defender. Here we go, step to fit, he's fitted tightly, hips and shoulders are square, sit, go. Drive, 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 good. Now we're going to go to a demonstration going way back in ancient history. I think most of you will know that this is the alleged king of the dinosaurs, the so-called Tyrannosaurus Rex. Notice how short his arms are and how high he is relative to his opponent here, the Triceratops. Now, the Triceratops in this demonstration will represent the offensive lineman. He's built with leverage. He's wide-bodied, short-legged, heavy-legged. And here is Tyrannosaurus Rex standing upright as a linebacker. And in every situation, the Triceratops gains leverage, vertical leverage up and down, and he will drive Tyrannosaurus Rex back and ultimately put him on his back. So, I propose that paleontologists reconsider this dinosaur as being the king, because in every matchup, leverage wins. Okay, we're now going to look at step to fit in a drive block. So once again, to set up a drive block, we're assuming that Amir is our right tackle, let's say, and the defender that he's responsible for blocking is aligned to his outside shoulder, and the ball is going to be run inside of him. So Amir already has leverage on the block. What he's going to do on a drive block is step with his near foot. His aiming point is the center of the defender's cylinder. His second step is going to be inside the defender's near foot, placing his play side hand in the solar plexus, his outside hand to the rib cage, and he's going to drive the defender on the angle. Okay, so we're going to go step to fit as our third progression. After the first step start and after the second step, he's now going to fit a drive block to the right. Okay, set, go. 1, 2, good position. He's blocking the defender on the angle. His shoulders and hips are in line, and he's going to continue to walk and drive the block to the outside. So now let's assume that Amir is the left offensive guard, and he's facing a 3 technique, a defender that's aligned to his outside, and the ball's being run inside of Amir. So again, it'll be step to fit on a drive block, stepping with his play side foot first. Set, go. 1, 2, again, he's making contact, defender's center of his cylinder. Okay, he's going to drive the block, go, on the angle. A very important point on a drive block is, if we can get Amir back in position, he's now the left offensive guard. I'm the 3 technique playing outside. Okay, as we walk to step to fit, 1, 2, he's fitted his block. Now the defender, assuming he's a good player, is going to feel the pressure of his block and try to work back inside where the ball is going. Okay, the defense, they're pretty good players too, and they practice. Go ahead. So if we go back to our initial position in our stance, when we run a drive block, when we execute a drive block, it is very important as we step to have, make your contact, a very strong inside hand, so that as the defender tries to play off against the pressure, that inside hand is going to drive through and lock out to prevent the defender from beating us across our face. We're going to demonstrate that right now. Fit the drive. Okay, he's in good position on his drive block, and I, as the defender, I'm going to try to work against his pressure. He's going to lock out his inside arm and keep me from beating him across his face. Okay, we ready?
Yep.
Go. Okay, as I start to drive, I'm being turned so that the offensive guard, in this case Amir, is preventing me from doing my job, which is cross-face the offensive blocker. The ball is being run inside of him. The defender is aligned outside. Okay, so it's going to be full speed, and this is blow it out on a drive block to the right. Sit, go, boom, contact, drive, 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 finish. Good. You can see the lockout of his inside hand to prevent the defender from coming back inside. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to show a defensive reaction to a drive block. And in the first case, we're going to have the defender slant down inside the offensive lineman toward the football. So any defensive movement after the snap of the ball that's inside toward the football, we call that a slant, a defensive slant. Anytime the defender goes outside toward the sideline away from the football, we call that an angle move. So we have slant to the inside, angle to the outside, and we're going to demonstrate both. First, the slant move where he's coming down inside. Okay, so we're going to go drive block. The ball is going inside of Amir. Okay, full speed. Sit, go. Boom. Okay, very well done. As the defender started his slant move, Amir reacted to it. He still took his play side foot and stepped to the target. The defender came inside, used a strong inside hand, which we call a capture technique, and kept the defender from beating him across his face. Okay, now we're going to show an angle move where the defender is going to step outside and actually away from the play. So we're going to take our normal steps. When we see the defender going outside, we're going to take our inside hand and just shove him and then track up to make a secondary block. So again, a drive block, ball's going to Amir's inside, and the defender will use an angle technique. Okay, set, go. Bang. Well done. Now we're going to give you a little quiz as you watch this tape. The opposite of a drive block is a down block. Right, it's just the opposite. In a drive block, the ball's coming inside, defender's outside of us in his alignment. On a down block, the ball is going outside and the defender's to our inside. So if Amir takes his 2-point stance, he is now playing left tackle, and the defender is in what we call a 4-eye inside alignment. The ball is going outside Amir, and he's going to step with his near foot. All right, his aiming point again is the center of the cylinder. Second step inside the foot, near foot of the defender, and he's going to drive on the angle. His near hand is going to shoot for the solar plexus. The far hand, the outside hand, is going to be to the rib cage and then work up through and drive on the angle. All right, down block to the left. Actually, down block to the right. The ball will be going to the left of the mirror. All right, here we go. Step to fit. Set, go. 1, 2, good contact. A little bit lower, however. Okay, chest on the knee, eyes in the center of the cylinder, good hand position, hips and shoulders square. Okay, here we go again. We're fitted on a down block. Okay, the defender feels the pressure. Okay, we're gonna do this about maybe half speed this time. Set, go, drive. Now he starts to work off, and I'm going to punch out my outside hand. Very important, if I can ask Amir to come back here for a moment. Okay, fit up. When we start to lock out our outside arm, it's important that we keep our inside arm tight. So I'm going to step back with the bag. I'm just going to show that it's much like steering an automobile. If I was going to turn in that direction, this arm would extend, this arm would stay tight. If I was going to turn in this direction, it would just be the opposite. And there's a tendency when we punch out one arm to extend the other, and what that does is helps the defender come off our block. So as we punch out, we really have to keep this backside hand tight. In fact, there was a great lineman for the Miami Dolphins. Grab, push on that hand, get my shirt and pull. Pull with one arm and push with the other. That player will remain nameless, but if you're out there watching, you know who it is. I think he'll be in the Hall of Fame someday. Okay, to continue on our down block, if we expect penetration by the defense, so if, for example, the defensive lineman is playing in the gap between two of our offensive linemen, or even if he is not, even if he's real widely aligned, we want to make sure that he will not penetrate the line of scrimmage. So, unlike a down block, we got to get our head and our far shoulder across in front of the defender. So we never do this. We never do this against one of our own players. What we will use is a stand-up dummy where we can really work on it. It's basically we're cutting the defender, trying to get him on the ground. Not really interested in driving him. We're just interested in preventing his penetration. Song block to the right. Set, go. First step. Now you see that he stepped for more depth because he has to get his eyes past the defender to his outside far thigh pad. Second step, right to the center, getting his head and his chest across the body of the defensive player, preventing penetration. Very good. All right, now we're going to demonstrate a zong block to the left. So the ball would be going outside to the right, or it possibly could be being run wide left, and we're looking to cut the penetrator. Okay, so again, he's going to step with his near foot, which is his left foot for depth. Second step to the center of the cylinder, get it head across with the chest and the backside arm. Okay, here we go. This time from the 3-point stance, if you will. Down. Set, go. 1, 2, good. And we're cutting the defender. Okay, so that is a situation where we really have to prevent the penetration into the backfield. Okay, we're now going to move to our trap blocks, and we have 2 different types of traps. We have what we call a flat pull trap, which we run on our trap play, which we often call mouse around here, mouse trap. And basically what we're trying to do in a trap play is we're trying to sucker a defensive lineman, a first level defender, a defender that normally lines up with his hand on the ground. We're trying to convince that player initially that he is unblocked. We're hoping by doing so that he will penetrate up the field. It's one of the few times when we do want the defense to rush across the line of scrimmage. So, just like when we set a mouse trap, we're baiting that mouse to come to the bacon, to come to the peanut butter, whatever bait we're using. Come on, mousy, come on, mousy. And then we're gonna snap the trap shut and really take advantage of his aggressiveness. Okay, so on our flat pull, okay, we now have Amir playing left tackle. I would be in the position of the center, and the bag represents the player, the defensive lineman that we're trapping on a trap play. So this is a flat pull. So I, as the center, would be getting out of the way, blocking back, and the puller, the backside guard, is going to take his first step through my near hip. So as I step, take my first step, he's stepping for my near hip. As I take my second step, he takes his, and we clear each other to create this kind of crossing action. Meanwhile, the offensive guard on the side where the man that we're trapping is playing takes a variety of different technique steps to influence this guy. One of the obvious ones is he's going to block outside so that this defender says, oh my goodness, I'm not blocked. He runs up the field, making the trapper's block much more effective. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to demonstrate the progression that we teach our trap with. So Amir will be in a 2-point stance. He's going to be pulling, flat pull we call it, to the right. He's trapping a down lineman. Okay, so from a 2-point stance, he's going to take his first step with his play side foot. His point of departure is at an angle so that his vision is going to be for the near shoulder and near hip of the man we're trapping. So if you'll go back again, there's many important points here. 1, the puller must step into the line of scrimmage. Although we call it a flat pull, that's really a misnomer. Okay, it's not flat. It's into the line of scrimmage. So I'm the center and I'm stepping. That puller is right off my hip on an angle into the line of scrimmage to create an inside out angle on the man that we're trapping. So now we're going to take step by step to the contact point on a trap, flat pull to the right. Sit, go. First step, good point of direction, point of contact, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Okay, one of the other unique aspects to our trap block, our flat pull, is how we make contact. Trap is the only run block in which we do not use our triangle. We use what we call a flipper. And the flipper is created with a bent elbow at 90 degrees, the shoulder that we're going to make contact with. That flipper is going to work away from my body upon contact. It's a lifting action with my forearm. Other contact will be absorbed by my chest and my shoulder. So unlike our other blocks where our thumbs are up and our elbows are tight, in our flat pull trap, we're going to flipper, our forearms coming away from our body as we lift up into the body of the defender. We're making contact with our chest and our shoulder, okay? Our inside hand is going to be placed on the defender's hip area, and that will serve to keep us square as we make contact. All right, now we're going to walk through a flat pull trap, emphasizing the correct point of departure, the angle, the contact, the flipper motion. The other thing that's important on this block, and we can't always get it, is we want to make contact same shoulder, which would be our right shoulder. Pull to the right, we make contact with our right shoulder. And it's important that we have our right foot up when we make contact with our right shoulder. So you'll often hear us say, same foot, same shoulder. Can't always do it, and it takes some coordination between the feet and the rest of the body to see that that occurs. But same foot, same shoulder will make for a much more explosive, powerful block. All right, here we go. Walk through, flat pull to the right. Sit, go. Bang. All right, we're making contact. We're square. Very important point that on contact, we have to accelerate our feet, lift, and drive the defender out of the hole. A very common problem for young players is they stop their feet on contact. And in every one of our blocks, we emphasize you must accelerate your feet on contact, and we don't block to the man, we block through the man. So we want to run our body right through his body, okay? We often use the example of you wake up in the middle of the night, you have to get up and get a drink of water. The room is dark, you stumble around, you run into the bathroom door, and what's your reaction? To grab your face, to stop your feet. Football players must learn that while they get whacked in the nose, they have to continually move forward. Much like a boxer has to learn not to close his eyes when that fist is coming to them, right? If you do that, you're not going to be a very successful boxer. So again, the demonstration is, I get whacked in the nose and I keep coming. Okay, here we go at about a little more than half speed. Trap block to the right, flat pull. Sit. We'll go from a 3-point stance this time. Down, sit, go. That's it, and drive your feet and extend your body. Okay, finish the block. Okay, this is going to be a trap to the left. Flat pull, we're trapping the first down lineman outside the center. So in this case, he is a 5 technique. He's playing outside the tackle. It's going to be a little longer distance for Amir to travel to get to the block. Okay, here we go. Full speed. He's pulling to his left, so it will be a left shoulder block. Set, go. Bang. And he's going to extend his feet, drive the block. Again, always important for leverage, get underneath the defender. Flipper lifts the defender up. My knees are punching forward and I'm driving the defender out of the hole. We never want to leave our feet in the hole as a lineman. always punching our knees and getting vertical displacement on the defender. That means driving him away from the line of scrimmage back towards his own goal line. That's vertical displacement. We also want to get horizontal displacement. We want to widen the defense. That's how we create running lanes. Okay, since we have Amir with us and he played center for us, we thought we'd interject this portion. Very important point, snapping the ball for a shotgun formation. So as we know, shotgun has become much more popular. We run it here at Hunter Central now, almost exclusively, although we will be under center a few times in the coming season. Okay, the key points in making a shotgun snap for the center. Obviously, he's going to get over the ball in a comfortable position. All right, he's going to reach for the ball comfortably. Okay, so it's not going to be too close to his body. It's not going to be extended too far away from his body. Basically, as he gets over the ball, he should have a slight bend in his elbow and a good grip on the ball, as if he was going to pass the ball. So Amir, if you just stand up for a minute, okay? He's going to take a grip just like he would as if he were throwing a pass, if he was the quarterback. Now, obviously snapping the ball with his right hand, his left hand is going to be in a position to protect himself as he brings his hand back. If he doesn't have his left hand up, he's totally vulnerable to a defensive player getting his hands inside. So that offhand, go again, has to be ready. So as the right hand moves, he's ready to protect himself from a defensive charge. We want a consistent snap to the quarterback. The quarterback is positioned 5 yards from the center. So we have to be able to make this snap without looking at the quarterback. So if we get Amir over the ball and we take a look, if his head is between his legs like it would be on a shot or a punt snap or a field goal or extra point snap, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Because in this situation, not only does he have to deliver the ball accurately to the quarterback, he has to be able to block, which is important. Okay, so the snap should be delivered at the quarterback's chest or belt level. So the quarterback is going to have his thumbs up and his palms kind of flexed so that he can catch the ball without actually looking it into his hands. He's got to be looking down the field so he sees that ball coming, although his vision is also extended down the field. So between the shoulders is our target area, and from the hips to the shoulders. So within that area, we want to deliver the ball. Now, as the center gets over the ball, we want, as his arm is extended, we want his forearm to make contact with his inner thigh. There's a spot on the thigh that he should hit every time to make it a consistent snap. The arm is going to work like a pendulum. It's going to swing without any bend in our elbow or our wrist. It's just going to extend as straight as I can have it and release the ball as my thigh, as my forearm hits my thigh, hits that spot. Okay? So it's been a while since Amir's done this, so I hope that we tolerate a little bit of inaccuracy now. Okay, Amir, the pressure's on now. Set, go. Good. Set, go. Good, that was perfect. Okay, our next trap is what we call a deep pull trap. And we often call it a lead pull. Okay, so now either a guard or a tackle, and sometimes a tight end or an H, is going to pull for depth and lead the running back through the hole by blocking a linebacker, a second level defender. So the difference between a deep or lead pull and our flat pull, which we just demonstrated, is in a lead pull, lead trap, we're blocking a linebacker or possibly a secondary player. a second level defender. In our trap game, in our flat trap, we're always trapping a down lineman. Okay, so we're going to demonstrate. We have two different techniques that we teach in a lead pull. The first one is very popular, particularly in New Jersey. It's called a skip pull. So now Amir is playing left offensive guard. I would be the center. Just like on trap, I'm more than likely going to be blocking back for the pull of the guard. And he is going to take his backside foot away from play side. He's going to step back off the line of scrimmage and throw that leg behind his body, behind his right foot. As he's doing that, it's important that he keeps his hips and shoulders low, that he doesn't rise up, and that he gets his eyes on the near linebacker who he is responsible for blocking. And we're just kind of walking through it. It's hard to stop after the first step, okay, Amir? So skip pull to the right. He is the left offensive guard. First step start. Sit, go. Okay, good. Now, as you can see, when he took the step, which is pretty good, it raised his hips and his shoulders. We don't want that. We really want to stay down. So as best you can, just try to go through it and freeze on the finish. Set, go. Okay, that's pretty good. And you can see, as big as Amir is, that's a difficult technique for him. His second step now is with his play side foot back. He's gaining depth and width. He's clearing the guard, or I'm sorry, the center, possibly the play side guard. And he's going to now have his eyes focused on the linebacker. After his second step, he may have to take a third to balance himself. His eyes again are focused on the linebacker. And he wants to lead up on the linebacker with his shoulders and his hips square to the target. What we emphasize is that when the deep puller crosses the line of scrimmage, that his shoulders and hips are square, that he's not turned outward where the linebacker could beat him inside. So come on back. Another point we want to make is this. When we lead to a second level defender, and that defender is not moving, he's reading, we want to try to get our head inside the defender on our block so that we can take him out and the back can run inside of our block. If the defender is moving, which is more than likely going to happen because he's reading some things, if he is moving, we tell our lead puller to make contact in the center of that defender's body. So if I were moving to my outside, we would change our course and attack him in the center of his body. If the linebacker is reading and not moving, we want to try to get our head inside and the back cuts off our block. Okay? So now we're going to go half speed on a deep pull, lead pull by our left guard to the linebacker. Okay? We're going to go step by step, lead up to the linebacker. The linebacker in this case is not going to be moving. He's going to be reading. Okay, here we go. Sit, go. First step, second step, good. Eyes. Okay, pretty good job. So here we go, a little quicker this time. This is our lead pull against the linebacker. This time I'll be the linebacker and I'll be moving. Okay, here we go. Sit, go. Good step, cross the square, he's on the move, and we're going to attack him to the center of his cylinder. Okay, the second technique that we teach on a lead or deep pull is what we call Penn State. And this is what we have gotten from Coach Dick Anderson, one of the great offensive line coaches in the history of the game. Coached for a very long time at Penn State, and then he was the head coach at Rutgers for a period of time before coming back to Penn State, where he finished his career. Okay, in this case, with a player like Amir, has difficulty keeping his pad level down. And most people do on a skip pull. So we give our players the option of choosing between these two techniques, certainly with our advice and counsel. All right, so Amir's lined up. He's the left guard. He's going to deep pull to the right. But unlike the skip pull, his first step, go back if you would, is going to be like it is on a wide reach. It's a bucket step, but a lot deeper than a bucket. So his play side foot's going to come back. He's going to pull the cord, keep his pad level down, and his eyes on the linebacker. His next step is with his backside foot. He's going to bring his feet together. We say he's going to click his heels. Okay? His third step is with his play side foot. He now plants that hard into the ground and starts to track up to the linebacker. Once again, it's really important that we emphasize when that deep puller is crossing the line of scrimmage that his shoulders and his hips are square and not angled, because at this angle, as he leads, he'll get beat inside. We're much more interested in working as we lead, working from inside out, just like we do on a flat pull track. Okay, this is a deep pull to the right. This is our power play. For us, it would be our 26 Philly, one back power. Okay, here we go. From beginning to end, nice and smooth, about half speed. Sit, go. Focus your eyes on the target, much better. Linebacker is reading, not moving, so we're looking to get our head inside. Okay, well done. So we have two different types of lead pulls. We have the skip pull. And if we're good athletes and you feel comfortable and you can execute it, that's fine. We'll practice it. If you are a bigger guy and your hips tend to rise, as they did with Amir, we probably emphasize the Penn State pull. Okay? Again, I want to thank our two participants, Tyler, our film guy, and Amir, our practitioner. And we'll continue with some other aspects of offensive line play, and certainly our pass protection, which will be a second segment to this video series. Thank you.